All right, Keith. A year ago, we were here, and
man.
we were like, holy crap, the year you guys came off of was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Amazing. Last year, not quite the same because you didn't win close games.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, really, the margin for error was small, and you guys were kind of on the wrong side of it more often than not. Why do you feel a little bit more optimistic that you can win those close games this year?
Well, I think we have an incredible amount of continuity, experience, and leadership. We got 5 seniors, 2 sixth-year, both of which that I think are all conference-type talents. Yeah. You got Matt Zona coming from Notre Dame, who's a 5th-year senior. You got Jackie Johnson, who's a senior who played Duquesne 2 years at UNLV. And you got Zach, and I think our 3 juniors, all of which are returning, 2 of which have been there for 3 years, all of which have started multiple Atlantic 10 games, and then a sophomore that plays and acts like he's a junior or senior that started half the season. So the continuity, the experience, the maturity, the understanding that 10 of those games that we lost by 5 points or less were right in our hands. 2 years ago, we were able to finish those games off, and you see what happened last year. We shot 65% from the free throw line, which was 15 out of 15 teams. And we were also 15 out of 15 teams at 2-point field goal percentage. So with the maturity experience, and we were still in almost every game with the opportunity to win a lot of them. So I think they've come back, and the connectivity, the maturity, the experience that this team has is a heck of a lot more like it was 2 years ago, with more depth and even more maturity.
Zach, where have you seen the improvements made from this roster? I mean, you guys are bringing back 62% of your scoring, second most in the league. Continuity like that in this day and age in college bat, that just doesn't happen. Where have you seen these guys getting better, and what has been the value in that locker room of having these players that are, you got guys that you actually know, you don't have to learn new names.
Yeah, I think maturity, like you said, nowadays is just an enormous part of college basketball. You don't really see freshmen, sophomores winning. You see seniors and 5th years and 6th years winning. We just happen to have a few of them. But I think just in terms of coming in each and every day, we're getting better. We're growing as a team. We're growing as individuals. I think there's just maturity of we want to get better. We need to get better. We want to win. A lot of this is our last year. So I think that is also something that isn't talked about is how much do you really want it? And I think with our team, we want it really, really bad.
How have you kind of embraced a bigger role? You're a senior on this team. You're the one that is being selected for media day when you have 8 24-year-olds on the roster. I guess I'm assuming that means he's putting you in a little bit of a leadership role in that.
Yeah. So I've been here for 4 years. I think me and Abdu are the guys that have stayed here for all 4 years since Neptune. I think just knowing what Coach Urgo wants and what the coaching staff wants and how we win as a team, and we've been around a couple years ago when we were a really, really good team. We finished 3rd. I mean,
tied for second.
Tied for second.
Come on. He's brought you to media. You have to know,
Finished tied for second. But yeah, I think we know how to win and what it takes to win. And I think being around 4 years and knowing what we want as a team, I think that's really going to help us.
You bring in 4 freshmen.
Yeah.
If this were 5 years ago, I would say to you, hey, how many of these dudes are going to make a big impact? You'd probably tell me all of them. How much has it changed now? Where now your expectations of these freshmen are, hey, you're going to have to probably wait your turn a year. Mm-hmm. We'll hope we retain these guys and they'll be better in a year. But I'm going to really, rely on the transfers and the holdovers.
Yeah, you know what? We don't really have that conversation until it plays itself out. We've got some obviously unbelievably driven freshmen. Quite frankly, they are sponges, and they kind of understand day in and day out what they've witnessed since being on campus June 1st, playing against some older, in some cases 6-7 years older than they are as freshmen. They're very, very mature as freshmen, probably the most mature freshman group that I've ever been around. And as a result, they're kind of just doing whatever is asked of them, and we've got great leadership. I'll answer for Zach. What he's brought to the table is his loyalty. And the reason why he's sitting in here is his loyalty and his leadership. He just knows who he is. He's comfortable in his own skin. He understands his role is to lead and to bring that continuity. He's done a tremendous job, and our freshmen have done nothing but follow suit. And guys like Jaden Smith and Ryan Pettis and Alex, they're pretty dang good, and they're going to contribute at some point or another. So how much? Not quite sure. We'll see. I mean, anything can happen throughout the season. Injuries, whatever it might be, illness. We've already had a few, so they've gotten a ton of reps, and I got to be honest with you, they've been incredibly impressive.
We're in Washington, D.C. This is where Coach Urgo is from. Did he bring you in his old haunts, his old establishments?
Stomping grounds?
No, not this time around, but we I think a few years ago we were down here for my freshman year. We went to practice at Gonzaga, but we might go see what's
We're
happening
planning
later.
on strolling by there on the way back. Taking the train out of Union Station. You walk right by the home of the Eagles, so we might pop in and say hello to Coach Turner and the rest of the crew. But when I think it was 4 years ago when I was the associate head coach.
Yeah.
The A-10 tournament was here, and we practiced at Gonzaga the day before or 2 days before, something like that. So.
Did you guys go out to dinner last night? Where'd you go?
No, they got here this morning. They got
Yeah.
here this morning. I got here late last night, so we didn't really have much of a chance. And then they'll head back. Got to get back to practice.
Your backcourt, bringing it back.
Yeah.
How much are you expecting a jump from those guys this year, and what have you kind of challenged each of them with?
Yeah, I mean, Jaffe Medor, I think, is, without a doubt, as talented as anybody that's on your all-conference list. Yeah. He won us the game at St. Bonaventure, has a stress fracture in his foot, misses only a game and a half. We thought it was a sprained ankle. Goes on the road at Dayton, arguably was, if not the best, second best player on the team at Dayton, on the court at Dayton behind Duran. I think he had 4 or 5 threes in the second half alone in a very tight ball game. Has the ability to be really special. Last year was his first year in the Atlantic 10, so knowing what is expected and now he understands the physicality. It turned out after the season we found out he had a stress fracture, so his toughness now in knowing that and what he brings to the table, being in college for 6 years. Jackie Johnson came into our building as a freshman and hit 3 threes. I think he had 13 points as a freshman for Duquesne against us. We won at the buzzer, but going to UNLV, his experience, his pit bull mentality on a daily basis, he has brought the most out of Jaffe and Will Richardson. Will Richardson, 43% as a freshman, led all freshmen from three-point field goal percentage as a freshman. Third in the league as a freshman last year. A little bit different, right? Teams were no longer, unaware of his ability, and they keyed on him. So he's taken it upon himself to really work on little things on how to get open and be more prepared when he catches and shoots. So the competition has been through the roof. He has brought a lot of competitive nature right here next to me. So our guards are as old and as experienced, and to me, I think they're as good as anybody in the Atlantic 10. But now we got to go out there and perform.
The first year that you had, when you didn't finish third, you finished tied for second in the league.
That's important.
That you won a lot of close games, and part of that was because of the Darius and Khalid and some of the talent that you had there.
Yeah.
Last year, you didn't really have as much of I think it's fair to say you didn't really have as much of a go-to guy. You didn't have that guy where you just said, all right, give it to Darius, get the hell out of the way, go get us a shot, right?
Yeah.
How do you, where do you kind of stand on that this season?
Yeah.
And two, what did you learn from last season as a coach when maybe you got to kind of scheme something a little bit more, diagram, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Diagram plays a little more, get shots.
No, of course. I mean, obviously last year I felt like we had some good players, some great players, but, a lot of young players who just didn't understand every possession matters.
Yep.
Now, with the experience we have, and honestly, with Matt Zona, with Jackie Johnson, with Jaffe, with Will, Jameer Tripp, Josh Rivera now in his second season in the Atlantic 10. Before he got hurt, he was averaging nearly 12 and 7. So I just think we have a number of guys that now, as juniors and seniors and fifth year and sixth year guys, we have a number of guys who can make some plays at the end of the game. And I think it kind of, last year, we understood whoever was hot was really our go-to guy, and a lot of times it was Kyle Rose. This year it could be a number of guys. So, again, Darius Quisenberry, Khalid Moore, obviously all conference players, made it a little bit easier to know who was going to get the ball at crunch time. But this year, I think we have a lot more of those opportunities and options going into each and every game. So it should be exciting.